Hi, I'm Chris James, and you're watching A Healthy Alternative. Today, we're going to be talking about fasting while skinny. Is there such a thing as being too skinny to fast? What's the skinny on fasting when you're skinny? Let's get into it.
We're missing a piece of the puzzle.
You start getting healthy and you just become a better person.
We need to start focusing more on the individual.
Before we get started with the video today, I just want to let you all know that me and Steven, we launched our 40-day wellness class. Okay, we launched it maybe about a week or so ago. The April class is full, everybody. I just want to let you all know the classes, they usually fill up in about a week. We've got 2 more classes left that are available right now. So if you're interested in being a part of the wellness class, I highly recommend that you check out the link in the description box below. Schedule your wellness consultation so that you can go through the process and potentially be invited to join the class. So I think we have 13 spots left in the May class. So if you're interested in being part of our May class, hop on board, schedule your consultation. We look forward to talking to you and work with you. Okay. One of my friends asked me, Chris, can you fast while you're skinny? And how do you fast when you're skinny? Well, as you all can see, I'm a pretty skinny person. I don't really like the word skinny personally. I like to say slender. I think calling someone skinny is akin to calling someone fat, but whatever. But yeah, so I've been doing fasting for years. When I very first started my fasting journey, people thought I was skinny. And somehow I still ended up losing like 70, 90 pounds. So it just really depends on perspective and understanding how the body holds weight. So first, I just want to talk about some of the reasons why someone would want to fast if they're skinny. Well, people want to fast while they're skinny for the same reasons that people want to fast when they're fat. It's because of the cognitive benefits of fasting. It's because of, maybe a disease or something they're looking to reverse because they need to detox. Listen, I tell people all the time, skinny people die of cancer, diabetes, heart disease, et cetera, all the time. These diseases are not exclusive to being overweight. Now, with that being said, is there a point when you're too skinny to fast? And what I would say is it depends. It really depends on your level of understanding of fasting as a whole. Like, what is fasting? How does it work? Where does your true energy source come from? Et cetera. There's techniques that you want to use to supplement energy when you're really small. Also, I did a video talking about the difference between like fasting, being like anorexic, and being skinny and fasting. I just want to make sure that I state that those are 2 completely different things. Many people think that anorexia has something to do with your size, and it's not. It has something to do with your mental constitution. So if you're really skinny and you want to fast for healthy reasons, it's incorrect for someone to think you're anorexic or to call you anorexic. Okay, so a couple things I want to kind of state before we get started. If you are really skinny and you're interested in doing some fasting, I would suggest that you keep it to yourself. If you're going to tell people who understand fasting, who are on board with fasting. But even with that, you got to be careful, because you'll find that a lot of people have they have an idea of what fasting is in their mind, and it doesn't include skinny people fasting. So you just got to be careful. If you don't feel like you are well equipped to handle negativity in that manner, I would say just keep it to yourself. The other thing that I want to state is fasting can be more challenging for skinny people. The reason this is because there's this thing called POPs in our system. It's pretty much poisons and toxins, and the level of toxicity in your body is typically higher in a skinny person versus a fat person. Why is that? Because the fat is actually a barrier and actually dilutes toxicity in your system. That's the reason why we get fat. But imagine you have one person who eats McDonald's every day and they stay skinny. You have another person who eats McDonald's every day and they get fat. The person who eats McDonald's and gets fat, their body is functioning a little bit more optimally, I would say, even though in modern society, we say, yo, this person is so lucky and oh my God, they can eat whatever they want. Yeah, but outwardly they're not expressing what's going on internally, and therefore you don't even know you're getting fat on the inside. You don't really know what you're doing to your body. Plus, when you go to detox, you're gonna have a harder time. My detox has always been historically more challenging than my brother or sisters because I've always been on the slimmer side. So keep that in mind. If you're having really intense detox as a slim person, that may be the reason why. Also, if you're staying skinny and you're not gaining weight, and you're eating poor things, more than likely you're probably dealing with a lot of your bowels might be backed up, constipation. You probably got a lot of plaque in your system. You probably have a lot of buildup in your system. So you really want to get that stuff out. And so, that's just a little precaution. Now, if you're skinny and you want to fast, I absolutely recommend prepping. I recommend it for everybody. How do you prep? Well, number one, you want to focus in on hydration. Make sure that you are drinking a large amount of water leading up to your fast. The recommendation that everybody goes with is a gallon. I typically say a gallon or as close to a gallon as is comfortable, but you could do some things to increase your hydration so that you could get away with drinking less. Obviously, we've talked about sun water many times. I've got a video on sun water. If you don't know what that is, check it out. You can add chia seeds to your water. Got a video on talking about how to hydrate your water better with Gina Bria. Check that out. You can infuse your water with fruits and vegetables or whatever it is that you're interested in. That helps make the water more hydrating. You could also do a coconut water fast or supplement your fast with coconut water, which is technically a whole food, but it still allows you to get major benefits of fasting. So that's also another great tip for those who are interested in doing fasting and they're really skinny. You could use coconut water. So anyway, we want to make sure that we hydrate really well, as we get ready for the fast. We also want to increase the high water content foods and decrease the dehydrating foods. A quick Google search will help you figure out what that is. And of course, I've got plenty of videos where I talk about these things. So a high water content food would be watermelon, cucumber, zucchini, squash, bell peppers. Low water content food would be cracker, Dorito chips, pizza, steaks, eggs, ice cream. Now, if your main concern with fasting while skinny is weight loss, which most of the times it is, we can approach this from two different angles. Number one, if you're quote unquote underweight or whatever the case may be, you just feel like you're too skinny. Just because you're too skinny or you're underweight or whatever the case may be, doesn't mean that you can't fast, and it doesn't mean that you're going to hurt yourself fasting. As far as weight loss goes, the body is very intelligent and will stop losing weight when you get to a certain point. All right. I have done some long-term fasting at the lower end of my weight. So there was a time I was maybe 185 pounds or so, and I decided to do a 30-day fast. It was 30 days, and I did juice, I did water, and I did dry. During that time, I got down to my lowest weight, my lowest adult weight, which was 145 pounds. Now, keep in mind, people, I am 6'6". Okay. Now, why did I do this? Well, number one, to challenge myself. Number two, to show people just because you're skinny doesn't mean you can't fast. I did a 30-day fast, and I was well underweight. You all saw me do videos around that time, so you saw how small I was when we did the event for a healthy alternative. I was still around that size because I had a hard time gaining the weight back after that. And that was also because I was coupling my fasting with liver and gallbladder flushes. So that combination of doing prolonged fasting with liver and gallbladder flushes is really good if you want to get weight off and keep weight off. But you can do it safely. So I wanted to let you all know that as a slimmer person. The other thing that I want to say is, if you're interested in doing long-term fasting and you don't want to lose weight, just chop your fasts up. Like, you don't do the fast 100%, you know, back to back. Okay, so let's say you want to do a 30-day fast and you're skinny, you don't want to lose a ton of weight. Well, there's not much getting around that, because the body's going to want to drop a certain amount of inflammation, which is attributed to weight, right? Inflammation, water retention, it's going to make you heavier, and the body's going to get rid of that stuff. And there's really no getting around that. But what you could do is break your fast up into a schedule where you fast for 4 days and you eat for 4 days. But when you eat, you don't eat dense foods at all. You only eat foods that are high water content. So, basically what you would be doing is slowing down the weight loss during the time you eat. Now, during the time you eat, you can load up on things like avocados and mushrooms. You can also do, healthy grains like quinoa and wild rice. These are things that are going to be very easy for the body to digest. So it's not going to detract much from the healing process, but it's not going to allow you to lose a whole bunch of weight either, right? It's going to help to keep your weight sustained. The thing about using this method is you're gonna have to fast for a long period of time to get similar results as you would if you were doing just like a straight fast. So if you did 2 weeks of fasting, water only, or whatever the case may be, it is obviously going to be more effective than if you break that up into 2 or 3 segments and you fast for 4 days and you eat for 4 days, you fast for 4 days, you eat for 4 days. Okay, so I want to make that clear. So it is going to prolong the overall process, but if losing weight is your major concern, maybe you're already too small or whatever, you don't want to lose any more weight for set reasons, then this is a good option for you. Okay, the important thing is not fasting for too long, but fasting for long enough to get the benefits of fasting. So when you're a smaller person and you're fasting, you still want to fast for at least 3 days. So by giving yourself that 4th day, you're giving yourself the opportunity to get fully into the benefit part of fasting. And you get to experience that for a full day, right? Then you cut it off and then you start eating, but you're eating foods that are enriching your body. They're healthy foods, they're energetic foods, they're hydrating foods. So they're not going to detract from the process at all. By the same token, it'll help keep your weight up because you're getting that supplementation. So that's a really good method. 4 on, 4 off, if you want to call it, for slender people who want to fast. Another good option for slender people is juice feasting. Okay, so what this means is you're going to be drinking, you're going to replace your daily caloric intake with juice. And anytime that I talk about juice fasting or feasting, people say, well, what kind of juice? Any kind of fresh squeezed juice. You could do leafy greens if you choose. You could do oranges, apples, peaches, pears, plums if you choose. You could do a combination of both. You could throw some turmeric in there. You could throw some ginger in there. You can really switch it up and have fun with it. It's really up to you what kind of juice you do. Now, me personally, because you're doing juice feasting and you're going to be drinking anywhere from a half a gallon of juice to a gallon of juice, okay? It's a lot of juice. That can get very expensive, especially if you don't have your own juicer. So I typically do recommend that you use something that has a high yield, like orange juice, grapefruit juice, or things in that realm. Watermelon have a really high yield, or any other kind of melon. Those types of things are going to give you a high yield, and that way it's not going to break the bank, right? But yeah, you can also add a little healthy oil to your juice. Once again, these are tricks. Okay, this is not pure water fasting, but this is a trick for you to get the benefits of fasting. Yes, it's going to take you a little bit longer, but you get the benefits of fasting without losing the weight. Listen, people tend to want to have everything. They want to have their cake and eat it too. And I am a proponent of having your cake and eating it too. With that being said, there may be compromises. There's many different ways that we can approach this. You can get to a point where you're so small that you fast and you don't lose weight. You know what I'm saying? And then you can fast without losing weight. Problem solved. But that might be too small. That might be smaller than what you want, where you feel comfortable. You could adopt breatharian practices. If you learn how to extract energy from the environment, mainly the sun, through breath work, then you can help sustain your build without eating. Okay. There's a handful of breatharians who are probably out here really doing it, and on YouTube and stuff, people that you can find. So you can kind of find some breatharians and learn about the breatharian practice and how you can utilize it as a skinny person so that you could do this fasting, maybe the prolonged fasting, without losing weight and without eating or using juice or whatever the case may be. But that's going to require you to learn a new technique, and that's going to take practice, right? Oftentimes people, when they fast, they want the results right now. They're anxious. They want to get the results right now. They're not really looking to start a journey to learn how to fast as a skinny person and maintain their weight and then start fasting. So it just depends on what you want to do. But with the juice feasting, I think it's a really good option. It's something you could do, right now. It doesn't really take a lot of prep because you're giving yourself cellular hydration with the actual juice. The detox process when you juice feast is much slower, which allows you to be able to go through that process much longer. It's not uncommon for people to do juice feasting for 90 days, right? So if you're on the smaller side and you practice feasting, you could probably do 14 days of fasting without much issue at all. I know that for me personally, juice feasting slows my weight loss down tremendously because I'm on the smaller end of the spectrum. Now, if you use juice and fasting and you're bigger, if you're 400, 300 pounds, you're still going to lose probably about a pound a day. You're still going to lose a lot. But keep in mind, the body is very intelligent. So it's going to do what it needs to do for an individual, right? Your body's going to do what's optimal for you. So I would just say try a couple techniques out, see what works. Also, I would say if your desire is to maintain a certain weight, make sure you're checking your weight daily so that you can make adjustments. Okay. What you could potentially do is, let's say that you have a particular weight you don't want to get under. Okay. You fast until you reach that threshold, and then you eat, because when you eat, you're going to gain back a certain amount of water weight and certain fluids and things are going to be manufactured. You're going to gain a certain amount of weight back. Get yourself to maybe 5 or 10 pounds above your threshold and go back into fasting again, right? Alternate day fasting is a good option. Not as effective as the 4-4, but alternate day fasting would be pretty good for someone who is skinny and wants to fast. Remember, just because we're fasting doesn't mean we have to fast for 20 days. You could do shorter fasts. So I think there's a few different options available for you. For those who just want to do 21 days of water fasting, they don't really know and understand breatharian techniques and things of that nature. You're going to fast, you're going to lose weight, but don't fret. You can always gain it back. Also, you could utilize your muscle. You could use your muscle to fill your physique back out. It doesn't have to just be water weight and inflammation that fills your physique back out. If you're really concerned with that, hit the gym. Use the power of the human growth hormone so that when you're not fasting, you're toning up and you're building your body out a little bit better. And that way you could be a smaller weight. You could be a less weight, but still fill in your clothes. Does that make sense? People always have a weight in mind that they want to be. Me, I look at it more as a physique, right? Like imagine if you could be 160 pounds as a man, but look like you're 190. It's muscle, you have a nice frame. Who cares if you're 190 pounds or not? If you appear that way, we're just talking aesthetics. It's actually more optimal to be lighter because it's better on your joints and stuff in long term. So with all that being said, there's many different ways you can approach it. I hope this video helped you, created some sense of clarity, maybe gave you a little confidence to be able to fast when you're smaller. Once again, I was 6'6", I was 145 pounds. I did stop my fast, but it wasn't because I felt sick or I felt like I was going to die. I was just like, bro, I'm too small. I don't like the way this looks. You know what I'm saying? It was more of a conscious effort. But yeah, my body allowed me to get that low, and people around me saw me, and my friends and family saw me, and no one was like, oh my God, Chris, Like, you got to stop this. You're going to die. Like, nobody felt that way, you know? And I actually felt a lot better about myself than I thought I would be, being that size. So for you, it might just be getting over that mental hurdle. Okay, you're going to look a little smaller than you're used to being. You're already skinny. It makes you feel uncomfortable. I mean, what's more important? Becoming healthy and being the best version of yourself, or, you know, looking bigger? I mean, I guess it just depends on where you are. Anyway, hope you liked this video. If you did, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. If you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe. And as always, the application of knowledge is power. And I will see you all next time.